Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this course on neoliberalism. Over the next few weeks, we'll delve into this powerful and persuasive ideology that has shaped much of the world we live in today. This introductory course aims to give you a foundational understanding of what neoliberalism is, where it came from, and why it matters. We will begin by defining neoliberalism and discussing its origins and key theorists. Then we will trace its historical development, focusing on significant events and policies. Next, we will analyze the key components of neoliberalism and its effects on economies. Finally, we will address critiques and alternatives to neoliberal thought. Neoliberalism is an economic and political philosophy emphasizing free markets, individual entrepreneurship, and minimal government intervention. It emerged as a response to Keynesian policies and seeks to promote economic efficiency and growth. At its core, neoliberalism advocates for the primacy of the market, individual responsibility, and competition. It posits that free market mechanisms lead to optimal resource allocation, driving economic growth and societal progress. Liberalism traces its roots back to the mid-20th century, emerging in reaction to state-led economic strategies. It gained traction during the 1970s economic crises, proposing market-oriented solutions to restore economic stability. Friedrich von Hayek and Milton Friedman were prominent figures in neoliberal thought. Hayek, who was born at the end of the 19th century in Austria, was a leading figure in Austrian economics who studied law and political science at the University of Vienna. He feared the communist influence of his day, believing that central planning was inefficient and doomed to failure. His most famous work was The Road to Serfdom, published in 1944, as a warning about the intervention of government in economics. He later moved to the United States and found a home at the University of Chicago, where Milton Friedman held sway. Friedman, born in the early 20th century, was a leading proponent of neoliberalism in the United States. His shows on public television won him acclaim and ultimately a Nobel Prize in economics. He consulted with Barry Goldwater in his failed 1964 campaign for the presidency and served as one of President Reagan's kitchen cabinet members. He published more than 20 books. Two of his most popular were Capitalism and Freedom in 1962 and Free to Choose, a personal statement co-written with his wife Rose in 1980. Neoliberalism's evolution is marked by significant political and economic shifts, particularly during the 20th century. This section will detail its rise and the pivotal events that shaped its trajectory. The 20th century saw the rise of neoliberalism, especially during the 1970s, when economic challenges prompted policymakers to seek alternatives to Keynesianism, an economic theory that advocates for government intervention to stimulate demand and boost economic growth. The Chicago School played a crucial role in promoting neoliberal ideas. Key events such as the election of Margaret Thatcher in the UK and Ronald Reagan in the United States marked the implementation of neoliberal policies. These policies included deregulation, tax cuts, and reduced government spending. Neoliberalism spread globally in the late 20th century, influencing countries in Latin America, Eastern Europe, and beyond. It often accompanied structural adjustment programs from international financial institutions. The next section of my lecture focuses on the fundamental components of neoliberalism, which include market liberalization, privatization, and reduced government intervention in the economy. Neoliberalism promotes the reduction of barriers to trade and investment, advocating for deregulation across various market sectors. The belief is that this fosters competition, innovation, and efficiency. A significant aspect of neoliberalism is the privatization of state-owned enterprises and services, for example, turning the U.S. Postal Service into private hands. Proponents argue that privatization enhances efficiency and reduces the burden on public finances. Neoliberalism calls for minimal government intervention in the economy, arguing that markets should dictate economic outcomes. This shift aims to empower individuals and encourage private enterprise. Neoliberal policies have significant effects on both global and local economies. This section of my lecture explores various impacts, including economic growth, inequality, and social welfare. Neoliberalism has been credited with fostering economic growth in several countries through increased investment and trade. However, the benefits are often unevenly distributed, leading to disparities. While neoliberal policies aim to stimulate growth, they have also contributed to rising inequality and challenges to social welfare systems. Many communities have faced cuts to essential services. Examining real-world examples of neoliberal policies provides insights into their effectiveness and challenges. Countries like Chile and the United Kingdom offer important case studies. Neoliberalism has faced extensive criticism from various ideological perspectives. This section of my lecture reviews critiques and explores alternative economic models that challenge neoliberal assumptions. Critics argue that neoliberalism prioritizes profit over social welfare, exacerbating inequality and undermining public goods. Perspectives from the left and the right highlight different concerns regarding its implications. Here is where things start to get interesting. Look at the chart and indicate which form of liberalism you would choose, classical or neoliberalism. How do we understand ourselves as persons? What do you want for society? What is the appropriate role for government? In previous classes, you learned the importance of one's worldview and the origin of your values. Neoliberalism offers a view that man is motivated by self-interest, not the common good. In this ideology, the market is supreme while it drives competition at the risk of degrading humanity. And here is why a course on neoliberalism, an ideology that has dominated our society since the 1980s, is essential for an authentic understanding of our humanity and the values we want to promote. Alternative models such as social democracy and inclusive capitalism propose different approaches to economic governance, emphasizing social justice and equitable distribution of resources. The future of neoliberalism remains uncertain amid growing discontent and calls for reform. Ongoing debates about its efficiency and alternatives will shape the next chapter in economic thought. Neoliberalism has significantly shaped contemporary economic policies and practices. While it has spurred growth in some areas, its impact on inequality and social welfare raises important questions about future economic governance. I hope this brief overview of neoliberalism will provide you with a firm footing for the classes yet to come. See you next time.